You're just used to this. I'm not used to this.
Dude, it's fun, man. Yeah, this is the beginning, you know, once you get on the breakfast club.
That'd be so tight. One day.
3 seconds silence. We're going live in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Alter Egos Podcast, a show about productivity and booze activity. Today's a special day. We got my main man, Marcel Xane, a.k.a. Philly Rock, Philly Boy, in the studio. Looking fly. How much that shirt cost? Like $2,000?
I don't know. No idea.
Somebody threw it out to you?
A little big on me, but fits nicely.
It's looking good, dude.
It's my look. I have lanky arms. I gotta wear big stuff. So.
You've been rocking that very chill look, dude.
Chill look. I got a little skull piece going too.
Little skull piece. I'm surprised you didn't wear your Marcel Xane piece today.
It's too big.
Your MX, man.
Not with something chill like this.
Yeah, dude. I'm not a big one for style. I don't get it. So you guys
you don't
stunt
get the
on
chains.
me.
You don't get the chain look.
No, I'm just not a big like style guy. Like something that I spoke about with like Cole is I don't really get the whole like
the hype beast
stuff. Yeah. It's I don't know. I'm just very simple when it comes to clothes. I just don't think about clothing. Clothing is like something that I need to buy more. Like my girlfriend goes like, you need to buy more clothes. Because like I'll just wear the same shit every day. I don't give a fuck. Like a couple t-shirts, a couple shorts, jeans. Like I don't know. It's probably something, but it's like, you know, you have some professional stuff, have some stuff to go to a nice dinner, chill out, and I'm good to go.
I mean, I only got into clothes later on, like out here, I guess.
As you get older?
Yeah. In high school, it wasn't really a big deal.
Makes sense.
Then as high
These
school
fucking hypebeasts are 14 now, dude.
Younger, they have money to just throw at this.
Their parents have money for sure. So. But I'm super happy you came on the show, man. It's we've been trying to fix schedules for a while, and the biggest reason why we couldn't get it is because you had your studio sessions. Mm-hmm. Congratulations on your album release. Mm-hmm. I heard it, and I'm gonna be very blunt with you.
Okay.
It surprised the hell out of me.
Really?
To be fair, I had never really heard anything much from you besides that track you did with Grayson, like back at the Plex.
Oh, like the first one.
Yeah, that very first thing. So like I wasn't expecting much, you know? Yeah. Like I just like I didn't have a negative connotation, but I didn't have a positive connotation. Mm-hmm. I wasn't expecting, you know, like let's take a look right now. What's going on with Jesus is King? Not a bad album. I mean, I don't know what your opinion is, but like it's Kanye. So everyone's expecting this like incredible thing. So if it's not up to that standard, it falls flat. I wasn't expecting anything like at all. It's like, you know, your buddy who's fucking making music, and it surprised the hell out of me because the production was really good. You sound great on it. The bars were good. It just it sounded professional. Like I've known people who make music,
right?
And it sounded like a dude who I know making music. Right. Your shit actually sounded like a true artist.
Like something you could hear somewhere.
Exactly. Like something I could play. And like it was shit that like I tested it out, and I would like play it in the car for people, and
just not
nobody would like say anything. They would just start vibing to it.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show like if somebody's like, whoa, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And they're just vibing to it. I mean, that's how music catches on. You know what I'm saying?
It's perfect. No, I think in the last year and a half is when I got more confidence in my sound, like not trying to be something else, but just focusing on my own voice and my vocals and how I can actually utilize what I already have, not keep trying to push to be something I'm not. So,
do you use autotune? Because I didn't hear any of it.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like a pitch correction on like certain things. If I have like one little like sound that isn't flowing with the direction that I want it to go, I'll like tweak it a tiny bit, or I just re-record it because
you have you can do that.
Yeah,
you have an interesting sound, man, and it's not rapping and singing. You got a good blend of both. So I wanted to see, and the people who are listening to it will already have heard it because I wanted to play a song in the beginning. Okay. But I want you to choose which song you would want to play, and we can listen to like a little bit. Or you could tell me what your favorite part of that song was, and just kind of walk me through like what you were thinking when you came up with that. Or just like your favorite track or your favorite piece of a track.
Right. Ghost Coast or Lifted Legends were my favorite to make. They took me the longest to make because I had so many little ideas for them, and then I kept changing little things and adding like just some flair here and there. Some of these took me not more than 30 minutes. Like Blixen Boys and Tarzan, both those songs.
What does that mean, by the way? Because I love that.
Blixen Boys.
Them Blixen Boys.
Blixen Boys.
Blixen
so
Boys.
in South Africa, Blixen, like, it's a slang word in Afrikaans. So what they, like, most older generation Afrikaans people will tell you that, like, if you're a Blixen, it's like a lighter way of saying bastard.
Okay.
So Blixen Boys is just like, teenagers, if they're screwing around in a parking lot and an older gentleman comes past, he'll usually be like, look at those Blixens.
Okay.
And it's a South African term, and my grandpa calls me a Blixen all the time. So Blixen Boys is just a perfect, like, we're going to fuck around for the rest of our lives and just have fun with life. So.
That's a good track. Cause I feel that energy. That was one of my favorite tracks because I love that hypey energy. Mm-hmm. And yeah,
that was definitely for the guys. It was like okay, like I need to make something that
Schoolboy Q banger.
But just so that like all my friends, are a part of my project, and it wasn't like them being on it, but me shouting out the people that I vibe with and I hang out with.
Gotcha. You can bring the mic a little closer. There you go.
Right here. But I just ended up taking it in that direction, and it came out in like 30 minutes. Finished it that night. And then I moved on to the next one. I made Tarzan the next day. And then both of those.
It's funny because you can't, I wouldn't have been able to tell. That seemed like one of the most like, just like, but I guess it makes sense why it came off as polished because you had the idea just set.
I freestyled it in the car on my way home from work.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was driving home and.
Do you like record yourself and then, or do you remember the lyrics or how does that work?
I write all my stuff in my notes.
Uh-huh.
But when I have a pocket, what I call the pocket is like that hook, like the "We Them Blixen Boys," deep with that like pocket was my hook, and I knew that one by heart because I knew that that's what I wanted on there. And then in the car, I freestyled that first verse, and I was just like, okay, like I need to go record this in tonight.
Gotcha.
And then that night, like as soon as I got home, I recorded.
Do you know what your sound is going to be beforehand? Like, do you have like from your producer? Do you have just like a stack of music that you like pick, or like were you just like music off doing that in your head?
So that beat, how that beat came together was totally directional of like I need some African sounding, like some tribal sounding instruments, and like let's roll with that.
We'll play it a little. I like the so that little flute. Okay. I like it. I like the I feel what you're saying with the little African flute. Like
I wanted that energy of like, because you have so much stuff out here that's just trap and but this one was like
trap is getting tough, man.
A little more meaning behind my stuff than just trying to like trap out and.
So what was the sorry, we got a little past it, but what was the track that you said that you wanted to do? Ghost Coast was the story.
Ghost Coast's a good one. It's a stronger one on the album. I think it's one of the strongest ones I've made.
Or what's like a good story? What was like, or one of the defining parts of like your album creation,
the whole project.
Oh yeah, just like
honestly, I don't think people should be doing music unless they enjoy the creation process of it. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't be about that validation or that satisfaction of people listening to it, which is good, but
anything
you should get more satisfaction from enjoying the time creating it. Mm-hmm. And because all of those moments make up the energy of your project. So if you got a positive attitude while making it and you're constantly just striving to make more, and then at the end you're condensing everything, you're going to come up with the best stuff.
Did you have to knock out a couple tracks to condense it?
I made 35 songs, and
yeah.
There's only 9 on there.
It's not bad.
But Safari Take 2 is almost done.
Oh, really? So you're really fucking hitting it off.
I'm just going to keep going. There's no
Is there going to be a difference sonically, like between them, like in mood? Because I would say this was a very positive one. Like, I wouldn't say that there was a very dark beat ever. you know?
Right.
Like,
but that was a big thing too. I used to make a lot of sadder stuff or just more, like.
It was one of the first ones that you did.
What, on SoundCloud or something?
No, it was on here. I think it was Slow Down. Slow Down was a lot more. I guess it's like
that one's tropical. That one's like a tropical pop EDM.
No, it's not this one. It might have been an early one.
Like with Grayson?
Yeah, it might have been. And it was like a little darker. And I was like, interesting. Because like you've always been a super like, I don't know. Whenever we would hang out, you always had this like positive energy. Like you were always like, some people are just like chill. But you've never been like a chill guy. Like you always like, I just remember I would roll into your room at the Plex and it would just be like a couple people sitting like in front of your huge TV and then a couple people in the back. Your cats are running around and you just had your like dark studio in there and you would just be like, yo, what up? You just have a J in your hand and you'd just be like, let me show you guys this. And you would just like show us music and you would show us what you're doing. And like Ethan and I would just be like, dude, this is like, what is happening? It always felt like, it's funny that you threw on a spaceship on there because I always felt like going to your place was like a spaceship. It was like going to like a different planet because it was so different than the shit that we were like hanging out with over at the villas at the time, And like going back to the Plex, each Plex room was so special because it had its own vibe and yours was like a music. You had such an incredible vibe. I was jealous, man, because if you remember my room, I tried to get that tropical thing going in there. Like I would try to throw some bamboo up or whatever, but it never really came through. You had like a very specific vibe to your room.
And it's a culmination of everything I've done, And most of the stuff I've had in there has been stuff I've collected over the years. And I just decided to, put it all up on display and really, utilize the fact that I've been doing music for so long that I can just keep doing it because I was doing DJing and all that production stuff in high school. But I've never had a studio set up in my room like I did there.
Is your studio in your house or do you go like to your producers?
Right now I go to Phoenix. I go to a studio in Phoenix, but I am getting a new place with a second bedroom so that I can make a studio at home too. It's so much easier recording in the actual studio.
Do you have a producer that like does everything for you or who's the
audio engineer?
Yeah.
I have
What's the difference?
Guy that I work with. So producer wise, like I'll produce beats, right? And I can create those beats.
Did you make these?
No. There's only 3 of them that I helped create.
Okay.
The rest were 2 people from Denmark or Holland area, the Netherlands area. And then one is in LA.
It's funny too because so when we met it was about 4 years ago. We were both DJing at the time. Remember we went and we did that sorority DJ thing?
Yeah.
And those dude, they were so annoying. There were girls like spilling beer all over the equipment and like play this song, and you were like, dude, no, go away. Like
you have to though.
Yeah, you had to.
With DJing, it's like. You have a DJ for a reason. If it was a playlist.
What did you start from? Like, what was like, have you always been in music? And did you like start DJing for a certain reason? Or were you rapping back then too? Because you were starting to, I knew. And then it eventually, like, I feel like you don't really DJ anymore. You just rap.
Right. And,
so like, what was that transition? Like, what caused that?
So it's been a transition throughout my whole life. Like music and dancing was like a thing for me in South Africa when I was living in South Africa. And then when we moved to London, I was doing voiceovers there for commercials and stuff, which is the intro on White African.
Oh, wait, that's really? I thought that was just a fucking clip.
No, that's me in London. I recorded.
This is you?
Yeah.
Philip de Quinn, wondering what you do in your summer holiday this year?
This is your voice?
That's me as a kid. Yeah, that's me as 8 years old.
This is your voice.
That's why one of the lines is like, got a job when I was 8. Voiceovers, it was Faye, hit the booth, making moves.
That's wild, dude. I had no idea. Yo, I thought that was like just because like White African, like, and you have like the animals on the cover. I thought you just got like a clip from the London Zoo.
Nope.
But that was you?
That was me.
That's awesome, dude. Holy shit. I had
that's
no
why
idea.
In the beginning she says my name before I start recording. If you hear it right at the beginning, you hear the lady.
Philip de Quinn?
De Quinnen. That's just how the British said my name. So.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
That's wild. I had no fucking clue.
Yeah.
I had no clue. That makes it so much sicker, dude.
Yeah, so booth life was early for me.
Yeah, you've always been around.
And then as soon as I got to Chicago, I was doing production, DJing. Obviously, since I was 13, I was DJing. Mm-hmm. And then it just grew from there into the love of music in general.
Yeah.
Because DJing definitely takes you into almost all genres, you know? And you have to have an appreciation or an understanding of those different genres to really...
And that's, like I said, dude, so I would say I'm the same way with film. I've always been interested in film.
Yeah.
Making videos with my friends when we were just kids, just like for fun, to like high school trying to make little films or whatever. I've always just been interested in video production. And so like now as an adult, I'm like, all right, well, I'm not going to be like a filmmaker. Like that's not something, you know? Mm-hmm. But it just always like was something that I like to do in my free time. And so it's slowly like evolved into becoming this, which is video production for me.
Right.
Like people are like, why do you record it? Like it's just a podcast. It's like, well, you know, I want to do a video production of some time. I don't have enough time to create a short film. Maybe one day, who knows? I also don't know anybody who acts or anything. But like I know a ton of people like yourself who have incredibly interesting things to say.
Right.
Use my video production skills, lights, all the shit that I bought, and let you guys have a place to tell your stories. You know what I'm saying? And I love to hear those stories because it's like everyone has such a distinct like experience. Like I had no idea. I've known you for years. I had no idea that you were doing voiceover work in London. I knew you had lived there, but I didn't know how long or what you were doing there. And that's dope, dude.
I was just having a job at 8 years old was impressive to my parents. So,
did they help you get that? How did that come about?
I was doing theater in London, and it kind of took me in the direction of, you know, acting. So if you do need an actor, you know, I'm here. But
okay, well, good to know. Good to know.
So I was doing the acting.
Rapper / actor, dude.
You ain't special. Seriously, I do want to get into that at some point again, because I was doing, you know, background stuff in Chicago.
Okay.
I was a background in Batman vs Superman, for Sirens and Chicago PD.
Oh, okay.
And just little things here and there. Empire.
Just as an extra?
Yeah. And that was just fun. In high school, I got to skip a day of school just to go into the city in Chicago.
Get a little cash.
Yeah. But that's also where the music took off, was besides the acting. I was doing production and everything on the side with some of my friends in Chicago. All of them are in LA now, you know, doing their
same thing. Yeah.
And, you know, eventually that's probably a plan of mine to
head out there.
myself out there.
I mean, for sure. I feel like you gotta go out there.
You're just surrounded by all these other people.
There's more of a chance for you to meet somebody who has connections or is already in that. You know what I'm saying? So that's good to hear, man. I mean, and I'm sure it, like you said, dude, it's when it comes from like a deep love for the art, you'll always enjoy it, and that's time well spent.
Right.
Whether you become a millionaire or whether you don't, like it's time well spent. And that's what I think about this. Like, there's probably a very small percentage that I'll ever even make any money off of this, but like, it's time well spent, dude.
Fair enough.
Take a look at Wilson, man. Wilson had been gone for 4 years, or no, sorry, excuse me, 2 years, 3 years. Hadn't talked to him, seen him just very quickly, like at the bar or whatever. And ever since he podcasted, I felt so much more like of a connection with him. Like it's strengthened our friendship. You know what I'm saying? Just time well spent, dude. So, but
my goal, you know, isn't the money. It's the love of it. It's the love of creation.
Okay, let's say, 5 years from now, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to do like a real professional studio album? Or are you trying to do like a visual fucking Kanye experience? Like what? Like if you had all the money in the world, all the resources in the world, what is your ultimate artistic goal?
Ultimately, I want to be able to tour the world and perform, you know, in front of like thousands of people. Yeah. But that's, you know, also a career goal, as in like income wise. You're making much more money off tour than you're making off of
You can't go off tour without
streaming.
Making money, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you can't even start there. So it's a process. But every 6 months, I'm going to be releasing a project, you know, because I'm just knocking out music in all the free time I have, and, you know, just coming up with these different concepts that I, you know, want to play with and introduce to other people. And then 5 years from now, I'm hoping that can be when I release my debut album, or before that, but 5 years, 2025, beginning of 2025, I want to be able to have released my debut album.
So
which technically means that I'm already on the map for most people. I've made it that far. And that also means I'd be probably like 10 projects deep.
Yeah.
And
I mean, think of all the stuff that like other artists who are super famous, like I was following Logic ever since his second tape. He put out like fucking 5 new tapes before he even did his debut album. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
and that's what Safari Tape is for. It's like it's a tape.
Like the beginning.
It's a little base structure to where I want to take everything, because it gives you a little taste. Every song is different.
What in your mind right now, or what's your plans for differentiating Safari Tape 2 from 1? Or is it going to be the type of stuff where it's a continuation of Safari Tape, and then when you want to change up the mood, it would be a whole different like name, like a whole different?
Yeah, so that's another thing. The next Safari Tape 2 might not even come out till end of next year, or even the following springtime, because I don't think I want to release Safari Tape 2 yet until there's a demand for it. But I'm trying to go way more tribal with it. Way more African sounds.
Okay, dude, that's dope.
But still, the true authentic me, but just utilizing those African sounds a little more, just to pull in that whole concept a little better, but also have it be, something you can play anywhere for any type of vibe or mood.
Are you using what is the influence that your South African heritage has on your music, other than just like, is it something that you're using as just like in addition to it, that you're melding with your, Chicagoan, or is it something that you're trying to be like a South African rapper? Like what is that? Because like, for example, like I know that there's that big cultural movement or whatever. It's like the duo. It's like that really weird.
Diantwoord?
Is it?
People call it
Diantwoord.
Diantwoord. It's Afrikaans.
So what's it called?
Diantwoord.
Okay, they are, but what's the culture?
Diantwoord is what I mean. It's Zef culture.
Thank you.
Zef culture. Just
thank you.
Like vibey.
How popular is that? Do you? Or I don't know if you were old enough
back there. I mean, we go back every year. Like,
oh really?
For December, I'm going in December again.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's good, because I release Safari Tape and then I go back to my family, and
it's good influence.
Yeah, but that's exactly when I got inspiration, was last December for this project, and then I started this project in April.
So you do draw very heavily from
yeah. But I think it's the language, like me growing up with 2 languages and the different structure of Afrikaans.
So you
English.
speak Afrikaans?
Yeah, we speak that at home. Okay. All of my family speaks Afrikaans. So, but it's I think it helps. I think knowing another language like fluently helps you understand structure, people, environment. It's not just the words, it's the way things are said and the tone of the way you say it. Because in English is a bigger language than Afrikaans is. Just there's more words for different scenarios, whereas Afrikaans, you really, the way you say things is how it comes across.
It's much more literal, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very blunt. It's a very blunt language. So there's less emotion
beating around the bush.
Afrikaans culture. Yeah, there's less emotion with it. It's more, just straight to the point. And I think that is why, like, I'm a very blunt person. I'm very honest with people. I'm always, and that's influenced me my entire life, because, I don't like people who front or, have to put on a facade
Who's
for me.
Fake.
Yeah, fake. Yeah, but saying it that way just makes it so cliche. But that facade, it just annoys me, because I'm always straight up with people. Gotcha. And I'm always just honest with people.
I feel that, man, because, I grew up bilingual too, in Spanish and English, because I was born in England and then going to Mexico and then come to the States. Like, just having those 2 things, it influences you a lot, because like I often find myself, even though I've lived here for almost 20 years now, I got here in 2000.
The U.S. or?
The U.S.
Yeah. Okay.
No, the U.S. And like, I still find myself having a lot of like internal conflict of believing certain things that I was taught growing up because of my parents' culture growing up in Mexico.
Right.
Or doing certain things that when I go back home, I get criticized by my family because it's like weird or different. It's nothing negative, you know, but it's just like little things that you do, little, you know, attributes or the way you say things or the way you move, you know, like, and it's funny because I have, for example, one of the things that I always tell people that's really weird is I have never, I've done 1 year where I've spent New Year's without my family. Like, Christmas and New Year's is a very family-oriented thing. Mm-hmm. You're with your family. So the first time I've ever told my mom, like, hey, it's New Year's, I want to go out. I went with Jevons
somewhere else,
in Kentucky. It was really like almost like offensive to it. It was like, really, what? Like, you're not going to be with the family? It's a very different thing. And I felt conflicted because it's like I've grown up my entire life doing this. Mm-hmm. But then when people are hitting you up, what are you doing for New Year's? What are you doing for New Year's? We got these plans. We got these plans. We got these plans. You get excited. And it's hard because it's like I got a cultural thing to where it's like, you know, I've been raised this way. I kind of believe this thing. And then, you know, the culture that I'm in now, a friendship culture, it's different. You know what I'm saying? But it allows you to view things objectively to where when I come across things, especially politically, I can pull myself apart and be like, okay, how would somebody else view it? You know?
Right.
If I grew up in another culture.
Yeah.
Because even though I am Mexican, I didn't grow up in Mexican culture, but I can like put myself in the shoes of like my cousins and something and be like, well, what would I think of this? You know?
Exactly. I feel the same way. But I know, you know, obviously I'm white, but I'm South African. So my views on the political structure in the U.S. is just, you know, because every other country looks at the U.S. as a joke.
Yeah.
With all the political stuff that goes on. But not that they're doing any better, because most other political systems are corrupt in every other country. So it's just interesting. It's interesting to see that, you know, I come here and then people immediately judge me as like, oh, he's another, you know, white kid, like he's automatically going to side with one side. It's like, no, I take in all perspectives because like I feel like I have a worldly view.
And that's important, man.
Of things that I've experienced and, you know, seen firsthand, and then seeing it here. Sometimes I get irritated because I'm like, don't it's other hard, people see what I'm seeing? But it's like, I need to take a step back and be like, okay, they might not, you know the stuff that I know or
been through what and that's the thing is like, and that goes great to your artistic power, because I mean, look at all the people who have become incredibly successful because they spoke about things that nobody else experienced,
right?
That most normal people wouldn't experience, you know, like, and sure, mostly it came from you know being in lower income, like drug, like things, but. Right. A lot of people too. I mean, if you look at like Eminem, he didn't speak about like being a drug dealer or living in the hood. He spoke about what being poor and being in those very desperate situations did to him as a human being, and how it created this Slim Shady character. He manifested a expression of his anger and all that stuff, and then created art from that. Mm-hmm. You know, Eminem, I don't think would have ever been as popular as he did because without Slim Shady. Yeah. You know?
Definitely.
And that was somebody using his own experiences, whether positive or negative, and turning them into art.
Right.
And that's what interests people, our worldviews. No one wants to hear what living in Tempe is like. So right. I always hate those fucking like artists who are like, oh, repping Tempe or like repping East Mesa. It's like, dude, no one gives a fuck.
Yeah.
Like talk to me about some shit that I don't know about.
Exactly.
Talk to me about Afrikaans. Talk to me what it's like fucking growing up in London. Talk to me what it's like growing up in South Africa. Like that's the shit that is interesting to people because it's so far out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think that's like you gotta, like, you can use all that into your music, and it's what you're starting to do. So it's exciting stuff, man.
I plan on coming back because I have a lot of stories to tell from South Africa. Mm-hmm. It's a whole new world out there. It's still third world country. So,
well, the best part is, man, we got a section specifically for stories. So I say, well, you know, we'll take a little break. We'll finish these beers and then we'll crack open some other ones, and we'll go into some stories, dude. I'm excited to hear what some stories of old Philly and some new Marcel Xane, and I heard there's a certain other ego in there somewhere that we'll figure out, and maybe he'll come out. Maybe we don't want him to come out, but we'll figure it out.
He's kind of hyped though. Cheers.
All right.
This one's good.
Can you hit stop on that? Is that yellow?
Yep.